guys. Welcome to another devotional. Today we're going to be in Psalm 118. Instead of me reading the whole chapter, I'm kind of going to pull out some verses because we're going to look at one specific verse in light of all of the other verses. So the verse bookends to this chapter are "Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His faithful love endures forever." And so this highlights everything that's going on throughout this chapter, because it is not only the first verse, but it is also the last verse in this as well. And so further down it says, "In my distress I prayed to the Lord, and the Lord answered me and set me free." Further down from there it says, "The Lord is for me, so I will have no fear." Further down from there it says, "The Lord is my strength and my song, he has given me victory." A little bit further on from that it says, "I thank you for answering my prayer and giving me victory. The stone that the builders rejected has now become the cornerstone. This is the Lord's doing, and it is wonderful to see. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it." And so this whole psalm is declaring the love of our good God, his mercy, his steadfastness, how we can just put our confidence in him, how he is our help and our salvation, and how he is our victory. And so what do we do in light of this loving God and everything that he has done for us? In verse 27 it says, "The Lord is God, shining upon us. Take the sacrifice and bind it with cords on the altar." Romans 12 verse 1 tells us what that sacrifice is for us. It says, "And so, dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you to give your bodies to God because of all he has done for you. Let them be a living and holy sacrifice, the kind he will find acceptable. This is truly the way to worship him." Why do we give our lives at this point then? Because we actually, if we're going to have the fragrance of Christ, it means we have to die to ourselves. Because we have to say, okay, I'm going to die so that Christ may increase. That I would decrease so that Christ would increase. That Christ would shine in my life rather than just me shining because that's who I'm going to talk about. Instead, I'm going to talk about Christ. That people would see Christ in my life rather than just me. And that's what we want to be doing. And so that is the sacrifice that we give. And it's only through his power that we're able to do this. In Ephesians 1 verses 15 to 23, it tells us of how the Holy Spirit is our helper, how he enables us to be able to continually die to ourselves, how he enables us to continually walk in the way that he calls us to, but we actually have to lean on his strength rather than trying to do things on our own strength. Because it's through his power that we're able to bind the sacrifice. And you think, that's kind of funny. Why would you bind a sacrifice? Because a sacrifice is normally dead. Well, this sacrifice is living, because our lives are those living sacrifice, because our lives like to try and get up off the altar. It tries to do its own thing. It has its own will. It has its own ways, which is contrary to God's ways. It's contrary to what he wants. Because in ourselves, we're selfish and proud, but the Lord calls us to be humble and selfless. And so there are two opposing odds, so we have to die to the one in order to let the other one live. So we want to die to ourselves, we want to die to the flesh, so that Christ would increase in us, so that Christ would shine out of our lives, those new lives that we've been given through Christ. So we're dying daily to ourselves, so that Christ may increase, and that we would decrease. We do this motivated by love. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, it tells us of what that love is. It says, love is patient and kind. It tells us that it isn't jealous, it's not boastful or proud or rude, it doesn't demand its own way, it isn't irritable, it keeps no record of wrongs, it rejoices in justice, it never gives up, it never loses faith, it's hopeful, and it endures. That's the kind of love that we're motivated by. So I want to encourage you guys to continue to faithfully serve him in the daily runnings of life. When we go to work, when we pop to the shops, when we interact with people inside the shop, whether we interact with people just at the counter, that at every moment that we would shine Christ. When we stuck in traffic and someone decides to cut us up, we still want to shine Christ. In those difficult moments when we just talk to strangers who we're never going to see again as far as we're concerned, And especially then as well, when we're talking to people who we're going to meet in every single part of our lives, whether they're people we work alongside, whether they're people that we meet every day as we just go about our lives. We want to shine Christ in every facet of our lives. And we do that by offering our lives as those living sacrifices, fueled by his love for us, and then our love for him, and the power of Christ in us. And we grow in that by investing in our relationship with him, by allowing him to transform us, by coming into his presence, that he would then continue to work in us, continuing to take out those things that aren't pleasing to him, continuing to feed those things which are pleasing to him, that we would then shine Christ, that we would decrease so that he would increase. So I want to encourage you guys tonight to continue to offer up your lives as living sacrifices, because he will transform us. And as we are in his presence, as we continue to come before him, reading the word, spending time with him in prayer, coming before him just in fellowship, and whether it's praying together, whether it's simply coming to church, just having that fellowship with one another, encouraging one another in the faith, and all those different things, he's going to continue to work in us. He's going to continue to make us more like Christ, and he's going to give us the joy and the peace that we need to live in this tumultuous world, in a world that is against us. But we know that we're for God, and if we are for God, then he is with us, and he's going to continue to give us that peace and that confidence to walk in his ways when it's going to be completely against what the world wants. So I just want to encourage you guys in that tonight. God bless you.